So, if you have one of these, you know it won't work with your LED tree. This is one of the specific ornaments from 1995 that Hallmark made that's only designed to work on incandescent light strings. You try to plug it into an LED, it's not going to work. Why? Because the circuitry inside was built to run off of AC voltage. So on the board here, we look at the board real close, we can see, four diodes in series with additional diode and all kinds of circuitry to make this little ornament light up and flicker. So when you hook this up to a LED tree, it doesn't work. So to make the modified version of this, it's also kind of destructive, because either one or something's going to happen. Either you're going to be able to successfully break off our little chipmunks here to get access to the screws underneath of them. So whatever kind of glue or epoxy or cement they use, it's stout, because it was not easy to get these little guys off. I mean, I had to literally take a pair of pliers and wrap them with a towel and rip them off, because the screw holes are right here on either side. To gain access, once you take the screws off, then you can work on the inside. So normally, before I got into this, this was like this, cemented down, and then this was screwed to one of the posts in the case here. So I've already snipped the wires, because we won't be needing this anymore. We're going to make it more simpler, and we're just going to put an LED in there, and I'm going to put an orange one in there. So I'm going to have to cut the voltage back to avoid burning out the orange LED. And you can, if you wanted to, you could put a red one in there, but then you would have to drop the voltage down more. So we're going to make it a little bit easier for myself. And our little LED goes in here, and it's sort of glued in there. I mean, it's very simply made. The only thing that was complex was that incandescent to make the little LED flicker in there. So there's a bunch of circuitry in there to make them flicker. So we're going to take a normal orange LED, and we're going to shape the LEDs so that I can re-glue it into the housing here. So I'm just going to bend the leads, kind of like in a little Z pattern, so I can glue the wires down. So I got like a little bend like that. So all we're going to do is just put the little LED in there, to one of the little standoffs in there, and we're going to glue it back down with some UV glue. And you can use any kind of glue you want. I just happen to have this here, and it's handy and quick. And then we need an appropriate UV torch to set the glue. So that takes care of that. I'll put this mess away for the time being, because I'll need it needing again. So now we got a little LED back in our housing, and we can shape it if we have to, just get it a little straighter. So now for the hard part, for some people, will be the soldering of the wires. And of course, in this case, you can't screw it up. So we got our little LED in there, so we need a little resistor. So I have a little 56 ohm resistor in here. And it doesn't matter which side of the wires you put it on, because if it doesn't light up when you plug it in, just flip the little replacement light in here, the little socket holder. Just, if it don't light, pull it out, turn it 180 degrees, plug it back in, and it'll light. So the hardest part of the whole project is attaching the wires. So we're going to tin both wires, and it doesn't have to be pretty, because you're not going to see it. So we're going to put the short one on one side. You just have to wait for the solder to solidify before you move it. We're going to just spread the wires a little bit so we can have a little room. And that UV glue hasn't cured yet. So now I've already pre-tinned these wires. So we're going to put just a little bit of heat shrink around them so we don't have any shorts while we screw and glue the little figurine set up. And of course on this, it doesn't matter which side you hook up first. We're going to trim this leg back a little bit. We'll just put our little pieces of heat shrink over each leg. We'll just shrink it. You don't have to go crazy on the shrinking, as long as it's there. So now it's just a matter of putting this back together and lining up the little screw holes. And there's one screw for each that is conveniently under each figurine. So this was never meant to be opened or modified or anything. So I haven't done anything with this since I got my tree 11 years ago. And I plugged it in and it didn't work. I says, well, it's LED, so it'll never work again. So I put it away. So I says, you know what? I got it out. I says, let me get into it and see if I can crack them open and change everything. So that's what I did. So now it's just a matter of re-gluing our little figurines down. And it doesn't have to be a lot on each one of these things, as long as you get a little bit on. We'll put him there. We'll put him there. Of course, if you have to, you can use hot glue if you want to. So for me, it'll be just spending a couple of minutes shining this UV torch around to set the glue. And then we'll go out to the Christmas tree and we'll find a spot for them. And we'll put them back in service. So stay tuned for that little clip. So now we're out at the Christmas tree. And I got a little spot for this. So we're going to put our little lighted figurine right here. Just like that. And then of course with these little guys you got to steal power from a bulb. Pull a bulb and plug them in. There. Now I got my vintage little holiday chipmunks here. Roasting their chestnuts. So there. We got our vintage 1995 little Hallmark chipmunks or squirrels roasting their chipmunks, and we went from a little flickering bonfire there, and we made it into a steady burn. So it's a lighted up figurine now, and now it's compatible with a LED tree or any LED tree. So we'll get him in a little bit better focus. Can we? Yeah, that's about good enough. So there. Hope you learned something. So if you have, an ornament that don't light, of course something like this, you have to get a little destructive to get into it, because it's not as simple as like the one down here, where the lighted ammonite ornaments use just a regular bulb socket that you can just either convert from incandescent or LED. It doesn't really matter, and that plugs into your lighted ornament. Where this one was a little bit more complicated, but we modified it, so now it'll be shining bright for many years to come. I do have another one a Hallmark ornament. I haven't found it yet. It's a Santa Claus going into a refrigerator, and the refrigerator light doesn't work with LED trees. So someday, if I find it, we'll have another little video on converting that over. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.